but because of providing this unique feature, like it delayed new product introduction, right, and increase in component costs. One might say that I want to bring customization, a unique product, but that can affect our goal of reaching to the market fast. So one has to learn how to balance it. Many a times we mix packaging material also along with parts and components. Okay, for packaging material, obviously the purchasing issue should be that it should be uh, bought with proper disposal facilities, should not be harmful to the environment, right, and the the transportation implications. Okay, so this materials, like the parts, components, this thing. So this parts and components business is like something which goes to the finished product, right. So hence the original equipment manufacturers, OEMs, if they partner with the parts and components manufacturers, right, if they partner with them, they can still manage to come to the market in faster manner. They can come up with good customized solutions. That's why here early supplier involvement can be a solution to manage. Okay, so this purchasing, now we have seen this category has altogether different challenges and different way outs to handle, right. Next in category is maintenance, repair and operating supplies, small value purchases. Okay, so this actually is applicable in all the sectors. Okay, when we talk about manufacturing, production, right, there when machine goes down, right, when production is interrupted because of the faulty machines, right, we might need some repair parts. Okay, however, for maintenance of various equipment, even in service sector, right, maintenance of lifts in the offices or maintenance of uh, other electrical equipments or units in any office setting, that means even in services. Okay, so this contracts would be uh, uh, very different type of purchase. Okay, for example, the types of MROs can be in the infrastructure setting or production equipment or material handling equipment, tooling and consumables. Okay, so sometimes like the small value purchase, like sometimes some fixtures, glues, additives. Okay, these are very small value purchases. Okay, these are also sometimes merged with MROs. Okay, because it comes under operating supplies. Okay, so these are if we will say per unit, price can be very less for such kind of purchase type. Okay, but if it is not available, right, it can hamper and it can interrupt our all services, or it will interrupt our production. Okay, so this is one has to understand. For example, availability critical to maintain continued uninterrupted operation, right. So though requirements are relatively small, but its unavailability can hamper the operations. So what should be the strategy here, right? Ensure availability, bulk buying, what else, right? It is easier said than bulk buying, less price, right? But what is happening in reality? What are the practical challenges companies are facing here? So they have abundant of inventory of MROs, right? But still, when something goes wrong and they are in need of a particular uh, part or the tool, it would be missing or it would not be available. Okay, so uh, this is really a challenge for companies. Just imagine a situation, when a airplane is flying to a country, and if something goes wrong, some technical glitch would happen, and then how to get it repaired in that country if the required MROs are not available in that country's airport. Right now you see a situation where how services can be interrupted, because this MRO is like there are so many airports, and all airports cannot be equipped with keeping each and every type of MROs at their uh, airports. Okay, so what is the right thing? Right now you see, to handle such kind of, definitely availability is an issue, right, but this repair and this breakage, this is a kind of risk, I would say. This is a kind of risk which might occur, might not occur. Yes or no? We don't know when something would break down. Right now the decision is, I don't know whether something would break in future, then should I be prepared for all the possible repair items, right, in my premises? Not possible. So we can localize the supplier. Yeah, yes or no, if it is a small part product, if it is some household appliances, I can go for local suppliers, right? But if it is a bigger equipment, very crucial equipment, right? For example, our power plants, right? So there, what would be our strategy? Okay, in supply chain management, we do something called risk pooling or inventory pooling. That can be a very good strategy, where we can consolidate the requirement of MROs. We can pool the MROs over few facilities and centralize it. Right now, this is a very good exercise for all of us. Again, how we can utilize our predictive analytics, our machine learning algorithms to find out like which MRO type should be positioned under which centralized facility, and with what facilities it can be pooled, right? If it is airline, can I pool India, Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, and have one centralized hub of all MROs so that it can serve to all the airports within 4 hours or 5 hours. Can that be a good strategy of handling MROs? Now you see that here what kind of challenges and issues are there when it comes to purchase this type of need or purchasing. Okay, so the bottom line is ensure the availability of this thing at right prices. Okay, so simplify MRO purchasing. Okay, so this is one example. This is self-explanatory. You can read it. Because these are small in values, but like there are number of items. Okay, a quick indication is that if you are owning a vehicle, let's say car, like, and now you can imagine at what points, for what kind of parts or components your car can break down, right? And how we would decide how a service company, right, or service center would decide how many of those parts should be kept or purchased and kept, so that when any breakdown happens with by some car, or owner's cars, how it can be repaired. Okay, then you will be able to link, what kind of requirements are there. Okay, another example, capital. Okay, so capital is mostly, our indirect material, heavy machineries, right? It can be infrastructure, in terms of buildings, construction, right? EPCs, engineering procurement based companies. Okay, so this is large investment categories, right? It deals with sometimes standard general equipment, right? Material handling in warehouses, computers buying, or it can be specially designed, right? Machine tools, power generating equipments, okay, or it can be construction related activities, right? So where lot of investment is required. Okay, so here purchasing decisions are different because it requires special financing arrangements, right? So your mining, airlines, right? So high risk associated with the acquisition. Okay, so because when it comes to new technologies, like suppose a power generating companies, they want to come up with altogether new kind of equipments. Okay, so where they want to collaborate with the suppliers, even suppliers are not aware of, like what would happen, like whether they would be able to come up with the new equipment as anticipated by both partners, supplier buyer partners, right? So there is a lot of risk involved in this kind of purchasing types. Okay, so for example, in our university settings, there are many startups coming up, right? Many startups, they are taking a risk, or if it is not a startup, like many companies, they come forward, they collaborate with um, engineering students to come up with some innovative product. Okay, now lot of capital goes, like when you have to innovate a product, and there is a risk whether that product would be a successful venture or not successful venture. If it is not a successful venture, lot of risk is involved, cost losses are there, right? So most of your R&D projects also fall under this category because they are also capital intensive. Now if this project would be successful, right, who would hold the intellectual property right, how to share that? So all these issues would come when we deal with the capital intensive purchasing. Okay, so this cannot be valued, like, or many times, like we are dealing with the products which cannot be valued like a tangible assets, right, using traditional accounting procedures, right, patents, copyrights, right? So just keep in mind, what factors should be considered while buying a capital asset, right? So very important point one has to consider is what is the time horizon we are planning here, right? While investing in capital intensive purchase, right? Are we going to invest for 2 years down the line, right? Then it will fall in this category, right? Whether the investment we are investing in an asset, what and how it would depreciate. Okay, all these factors are very important to consider while purchasing the capital intensive assets, right? So for example, Intel, their goal is to tie capital equipment purchasing and equipment service to performance based contracting, right? So supplier gets paid for uptime and quality output, right? So bigger infrastructure also falls under this category, right? They are also, right, capital intensive. Now the last category, other than others, right? There can be a category which cannot be part of this, okay? But one is services, right? What is services? Your consultancy, right? Software development, ITES, hospitality, healthcare, these are all services. What are the purchasing issues there? First of all, to handle these services, we are dealing with intangible component. Consultancy will be good or not, perishable. We are taking airline services like, but you know, aeroplane might fly with empty seat, right? It's perishable, heterogeneous, right? So this is a high level of customization, right? So one consultant, two companies consulting for one same consultant can have different experience, okay, because of intangibility. Customer participation in the production process, right? A service can begin only when customer would initiate the service, because when a customer will go to the doctor, when customer would or patient would tell what is the problem, then only doctor can start the treatment, right? And simultaneous production and consumption. To heal the patient, the doctor has to start the treatment, right? And you know, the patient would be healed. The treatment and healing is going simultaneously. Difficult to measure quality. Okay, we have talked about all this services here. You know, you can see that because of intangibility, there is a lot of inconsistency in the quality. So this is a complexity of specifying service needs, right? So just give a thought, like, you know, when we talk about, let's say take environment of ITES, okay, when we are launching a software for the client, okay, so what kind of service levels we give? We generally talk about 90% service level, we say 95% service level. How you define that service level? How would you define that service level? What do you mean by 90% service level, 95% service level in services? We can take context of ITS. Or you can take any number, 90% service level. So one person is saying it can be uptime, 90% of the time, right? The service would be up, right? Uninterrupted service would be up for 90% of the time. Some may define service level that when a complaint would come, 90% of the times the complaint would be addressed within 1 hour, within 2 hours. Now you see that our performance indicators, our performance measures are not standardized and consistent. Okay, that adds to the complexity. So the buying of service involves more of personal relationship between supplier and user, right? So many services in the past have been available only in regulated environment, in which price, service delivery was essentially the same for all suppliers. Like, you know, before even our airlines, air services, they have been deregulated quite late, you know. So it is very difficult to set standards for services. It is still evolving. Unlike, you know, purchasing of goods, like, you know, services are little complex, right? But again, we have another kind of services like transportation and third party purchasing, right? It is actually again combination of both, right? You can have tangible component, right, by considering distance traveled, fuel usage. At the same time, we have intangible component also, like, you know, delivery, right, fragility of the products they are handling, okay. So this is also another kind of purchasing. And if you cannot classify any particular type of purchase, we can call them others. Okay, others means electricity usage, water usage, right? So this can be classified as others, right? So you have seen many categories of purchase. Okay, so do you think all these types of purchase can be handled by adopting same sourcing strategies? No. Can they all have same kind of expertise from supply management personnel? Answer is no. Okay, and now keep this thing in mind, keeping our supply process in mind. Okay, now we are heading towards devising good sourcing strategies. We are heading towards having digitalization or digitizing each activity, right? That would be coming up in our subsequent session. Okay, so we will talk about the positioning these categories under repetitive or non-repetitive in the next session. Okay, so thank you everyone for today's session.